a single solitary bead. I've only made one so far, but I intend to make many, many more because they're extraordinarily pleasing. I thought I'd just give you a real quick whistle stop of how to do them. So, making them with the leftover melange. Still don't know if that's how you say it. I'm choosing to use just a bit of fibre fill stuffing because I'm not really I know it sounds ridiculous, but I'm not very good at winding small bits of yarn. I've got weird fingers. But you can use little balls of wound yarn to stuff them. You can use the ends that you've cut off. A lot of people save the ends that they've cut off to stuff things, which is just marvellous, really. So let me show you. You're going to start with the, I'm using my smaller hook. I might even go down a hook size further from my own stash, possibly to make them smaller. I don't know. But the 3.5 works really, really well with them. And you're going to start with a magic ring. And this is how I do it. I've been told it's weird. I don't know why. But it works. So, use it or don't. Entirely up to you. My yarn is going over the palm of my hand or the back of my fingers or the front of my fingers, whatever it is. And I'm going to just wrap around my finger once. And I'm going to put the hook under the cross. And I am going to hold that in place and make my chain through the loop just to secure it. So I've gone through and I've made the chain, and now we've got a secure little lasso in there. Okay, so that is the magic ring, and I'm now going to do 6 double crochet into it. So that's UK terminology, obviously. I'm going to try and keep my tension a bit tighter than normal. 3. If you were making lots of these, it would be absolutely delicious because the colour changes. You just wouldn't know what you're going to get. 4. So I think that would make a really nice garland or necklace. 5 and 6, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes. Right, I've done my 6 double crochet into the ring. Obviously, we're doing UK terminology. And I'm just going to pull the end, and that will close the ring. All right, so that is round number 1, and we're going to mark our first stitch of each round with a little stitch marker. I've just got a safety pin here, but you can obviously use your stitch marker. Okay, so round 2 we're going to increase, and we're going to put 2 double crochet in every stitch all the way round. So here we go. That's the first stitch. I'm just going to stop there and mark it with the little safety pin. Okay, I'm going to just do 2 stitches in every stitch all the way around. Okay, last 2. That's 12 stitches. And then for round 3, we're going to do another increase. So we're going to do 2 in one stitch and then 1 in the next. So I'm taking my stitch marker out because I know this is stitch number 1. So I'm going to put 2 in there. But first of all, I've made stitch number 1. Whoops. And I'm just going to mark that up again. So I know that's the beginning or the first stitch of my round. Okay, so stitch 1, and I'm going to do another one in exactly the same place. Okay, so 2 into 1 and then 1. Sorry, I'm getting towards the top of the screen there again, aren't I? 2 into 1 and then 1. Here's our increase. 2 into 1 and then 1. And if I do that all the way around, that's going to leave me with 18 stitches. I'll see you at the end. Okay, that's the end of that. So I've now got 18 stitches, and I'm now just going to do 2 straight rows with no increases at all. Okay, so rounds 4 and 5 are just straight rounds with no increases. So straight rounds of 18 stitches. I'll do it twice. Okay, so I've just done 2 straight rounds of 18 stitches, and I'm now going to start round 6, which is a decrease round. So take my marker out for the first stitch, do 1 double crochet, which is my first stitch. There, put my marker back. Can you see that the colour is starting to change? Lovely. Right, so our decrease is as follows. We've done 1 double crochet, and we're now going to double crochet 2 together using front loops only. So all that means is rather than putting my hook through like so, as I normally would for a stitch, can you see that? I'm just going to put it into the front loop and pull up a loop. So I've now got 2 on the hook, and I'm going to go through the front loop again of the next stitch along. Okay, and pull up a loop, and I've now got 3 loops on the hook, and I'm going to pull through all 3, and that has decreased my 2 stitches down to 1 stitch. And I'm going to do that all the way around. So 1 normal double crochet through both loops, and then the decrease goes in the front loops only. So through 1 front loop, through 2 front loops, and pull all the way through. So sort of undoing the decrease the increase we did in the last round. So 1 double crochet and 1 decrease, what we're doing here, and we're going to do that all the way around. Okay, so on my last decrease, so 1 double crochet, I'm going to get 1 decrease through the front loops. We're going to get another really nice 2-tone bead here, chaps. That's lovely. Right, so I've just got to the end of round 6, and before I go on, I'm going to get that little bit of stuffing and pop in there. I'm going to shove that end in as well. Hold on. Right, don't need too much. Don't want to overstuff it, and I like to use the end of my crochet hook to sort of get that in there. At this stage, the opening is large enough that it's not too much of an issue really, but just going to get the end in there as well really. Should probably have sewn that in, but this is just a demo, isn't it? So there we go. Maybe a tiny weeny bit more. I don't want rock hard beads, but I do want a structure. Nobody wants a floppy bead, do they? Right. Might be a bit too much, but if you use the end of these handles, they sort of candy floss them into place, don't they? It's good that. Right, so I've stuffed that enough, I think. I can always add a bit more as I'm going around. And that was at the end of round 6, and I'm now starting round 7. Now, round 7, you're just going to decrease all the way around. And in your book, it says 5 times, but I think you're going to do it 6 times because you've got 12 stitches, and obviously that's 6 pairs of 2, isn't it, if my maths serves me. Right, so I've taken my first stitch marker, for my first stitch out. I'm going to go through the front loop of the next stitch and pull up a loop, and the front loop of the next stitch and pull up a loop, 3 on the hook, and go through all 3 of them. And I'm going to mark it again. I know it might seem like a faff, but I need to know where the beginning and end of the round is now that it's got very small and fiddly. Okay, so I'm just going to do that all the way around. So in the next front loop, pull up a loop, in the next front loop, and pull up a loop. Okay, so if I do that sort of 6 times all the way around, that's going to bring me down to very few stitches. Okay, and the last 2 stitches, so in the front loop and in the front loop, and yarn over and go through all 3. Right, that was round 7, and I'm going to cut a tail about that long. Right, so what I need to do now is I can take the stitch marker out. In fact, I'm going to make whip stitches all the way around with my using my needle to close the hole a little. Come on, grabby yarn. So thread the needle, and all I'm going to do is go into each of those 6 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and that has closed the the hole. And now, just to try and mimic that lovely neat side there, we're going to make stitches in the next row down, just into the next row down to, like I said, just try and mimic that bead hole a little. That's 2, doesn't need to be too much. 3, 8 times, I think she says. 4, 5, 6. Oops, I've got hardly any yarn. Gosh, I love these. I think I'm going to be making a lot of them. 7. No, I can't make it. I have cut far too little there. Let me just see if I can do that like that and pull that end through, and that should be fine. Right, okay, so let me cut that. If you pull your yarn all the way through the bead and then pull it tight and cut really close, the end will disappear inside. So there's another little bead, and look, and now I've got 2, and they're almost the same, but my yarn has now changed to blue. So next time I do that, next time I make a bead, it's going to be blue. They're sort of slightly different sizes, I've noticed. So my tension is, I've consciously tried to make my tension tighter on this one. So there you go. If you're normal, you will have reasonably even tension and they will look great. But that's how you make a bead, and I can't wait to see all your creations with them.